The flashbulbs exploded like distant gunfire, each one searing Isla's retinas as she tilted her chin just so, lips brushing Ethan's in a kiss that tasted of rehearsed perfection and stale champagne. In that frozen instant, amid the roar of paparazzi shouts, "Isla! Over here! Give us that newlywed glow!" her mind shattered into fragments of salt-slick skin and whispered promises, the ghost of Lena's breath hot against her neck 3 years gone. She pulled back, smiling for the cameras, but her heart hammered a traitor's rhythm, screaming one truth into the velvet dark. This life was a cage, gilded and gaping, and the key had vanished with the woman who once held it. Isla Harper had always chased the spotlight, but tonight, under the marquee lights of the Dolby Theater in Los Angeles, it felt like a noose tightening around her throat. 32. She was the golden girl of indie cinema turned blockbuster darling, her face plastered on billboards from Sunset Boulevard to Times Square, hawking perfumes that smelled of synthetic jasmine and forgotten dreams. Ethan Caldwell, her husband of 6 months, was the perfect co-star, tall, chiseled, with a jawline that could cut glass and a laugh that charmed talk show hosts into forgiving his string of tabloid flings. Their wedding had been a spectacle engineered by publicists, white tints in the Hollywood Hills, A-listers toasting with vintage Dom, and a first dance to some forgettable pop ballad that masked the hollow echo of vows neither believed. But as they posed on the red carpet for the premiere of Echoes of Us, a rom-com that ironically mirrored her own fractured fairy tale, Isla's facade cracked like fine china under pressure. Ethan's hand rested possessively on her lower back, fingers splayed just wide enough to signal ownership to the lenses. "You okay, babe?" he murmured, his breath carrying the faint mint of a pre-event gum chew. She nodded, forcing her lips into that signature half-smile, the one that said poised yet playful, but inside, a storm raged. The film was about second chances, about love clawing its way back from the brink, and every scene tonight would remind her of what she'd buried. They swept into the theater, a sea of sequins and whispers parting for them like the Red Sea for reluctant prophets. Isla's gown, a custom Versace number in midnight silk, clung to her curves like a lover's regret, the high slit flashing a glimpse of thigh with each step. Heads turned, compliments rained down. "You two are goals. That ring is fire." But she heard none of it. Her green eyes, sharp as sea glass, scanned the crowd for phantoms, half expecting Lena's silhouette in the shadows of the balcony. It had been 3 years since that rainy night in Portland, when Lena's fingers had traced the map of Isla's scars, literal and otherwise, and promised a world beyond scripts and spotlights. The lights dimmed, and as the opening credits rolled, Isla sank into her seat, Ethan's arm draped casually over hers. The screen flickered to life with laughter tracks and meet cuties, but her thoughts drifted to Vermont, to the quiet cabin where she'd fled after her first big breakup, a raw indie film flop that left her ego in tatters. That was where she'd met Lena Voss, or rather, where Lena had found her. Isla had been hiking the mist-shrouded trails of the Green Mountains, boots caked in mud, chasing solitude after a tabloid exposé painted her as Hollywood's latest wild child. Lena was there sketching by a frozen stream, her charcoal pencils capturing the skeletal grace of winter birches, her dark curls escaping a wool beanie like secrets begging to be told. "You look like you're running from something," Lena had said, not looking up from her pad, her voice low and laced with that Pacific Northwest drawl, part Seattle rain, part Oregon pine. Isla had frozen, mid-stride, the words slicing through her armor. No one saw through her like that. Not directors barking for more vulnerability, not agents tallying her market value. She dropped onto a nearby log, breath clouding the air. Maybe I am. Or maybe I'm just lost. Lena's eyes, deep brown and flecked with gold like autumn leaves, met hers then, and the world narrowed to the space between them, 2 feet of snow-dusted ground that felt like an ocean. They talked for hours that afternoon, words tumbling like the stream beside them. Lena was 30, a freelance illustrator who traded city galleries for rural anonymity after her own heartbreak, a gallery owner who'd promised forever and delivered eviction papers instead. She spoke of art as salvation, of lines that bent but never broke. And Isla found herself confessing fragments, the pressure of auditions where she played the girl next door while hiding the queer ache in her chest, the fear that one wrong role could eclipse her rising star. "You're not lost," Lena said as dusk bled purple across the sky. "You're just pausing." And pauses, they're where the real stories begin. That night, in the cabin's flickering firelight, pauses turned to touches, tentative at first. Lena's callous fingers brushing Isla's wrist, then bolder, tracing the curve of her jaw. Their kiss was a revelation, soft and searing, tasting of pine tea and unspoken hungers. Isla pulled back, heart thundering. "I can't. This isn't me. Or it is? But no one knows." Lena's smile was a quiet anchor. "Then let me know you. Just for tonight." But one night became a summer. Stolen weekends when Isla flew under pseudonyms to Burlington, shedding her LA skin for flannel shirts in Lena's bed, where bodies moved like poetry, slow, then fervent, mapping desires Isla had only glimpsed in hidden fanfiction tabs. Lena taught her to draw, not with precision but with feeling, smudges of graphite mirroring the bruises of love. They hiked to overlooks where the world sprawled green and endless, and Isla whispered dreams of a life unscripted, free from the male gaze that defined her worth. "What if I came out?" she'd asked one dawn, tangled in sheets that smelled of lavender and earth. Lena's fingers stilled in her hair. "Then you'd be braver than most. But only if it's for you. Not the headlines." Back in LA, reality intruded like a bad cut. Auditions demanded heteronormative charm. Producers hinted at relatable romances to boost box office. Then came Tidal Hearts, the rom drama that catapulted her, opposite Ethan, whose easy charisma masked a coke habit and wandering eyes. The chemistry was electric on screen. Fans shipped them hard. And whispers of an off-screen fling turned to demands for more. "Lean into it," her agent urged. "America loves a power couple." Isla resisted at first, but scripts dried up. Offers trickled to Netflix B-listers. One desperate night, over takeout Thai in her Echo Park bungalow, she proposed the pact to Ethan. "Fake it till we make it. Dates, posts, the whole show. No strings." He agreed with a grin, clinking glasses. "To the greatest performance of our lives." It worked too well. Red carpets, joint interviews, a courthouse wedding streamed live to millions. Fans ate it up. Her Q-score soared, and Echoes of Us was born from the hype. But each kiss for the cameras was a betrayal, a blade twisting deeper into the space Lena had carved in her soul. 3 years ago, when the facade solidified, Isla had ghosted, voicemails deleted, emails archived unread. "It's better this way," she told herself, staring at Lena's last text. "I miss the pauses. Come back when you're ready." But ready never came. Now, as the film's intermission lights rose, Ethan squeezed her hand. Nailed it tonight. You were glowing. She forced a laugh, excusing herself to the lobby for a breather. The marble floors echoed her heels as she slipped into a powder room, locking the door against the world. Leaning over the sink, she met her reflection, green eyes rimmed red. Mascara threatening mutiny. Pull it together. Harper, she whispered, splashing cold water on her face. But the mirror lied. The woman staring back was still the one from Vermont, the one who'd tasted freedom on Lena's lips. Her phone buzzed in her clutch, a text from an unknown number. Saw the premiere. You look beautiful. Still running. L heart slamming. Isla typed back before reason could intervene. Not running. Just surviving. Coffee tomorrow? The old spot. Sent. No takebacks. As applause swelled for the second act, she straightened her gown. The silk whispering promises of chaos. For the first time in years, the cage felt fragile, and the shadows beckoned with a familiar, forbidden warmth. The next morning dawned hazy over Los Angeles, the kind of light that turned palm fronds into halos and hid sins in its golden blur. Isla lay awake in the king-sized bed of their West Hollywood condo. Ethan snores a distant rumble from the guest room where he'd crashed after last night's after-party. The sheets tangled around her legs like accusations, cool where Lena's body heat had once burned them alive. She checked her phone. Nothing from the unknown number. No reply to her impulsive olive branch. Doubt crept in, cold and familiar, whispering that Lena had moved on, that bridges burn don't rebuild themselves with a single text. She rose quietly, padding to the kitchen in oversized sweats that swallowed her frame, brewing coffee strong enough to jolt the dead. The condo was a showpiece, mid-century modern lines, white walls splashed with abstract art from Ethan's investments, floor-to-ceiling windows framing the sprawl of the city like a postcard from a life she didn't live. Isla poured a mug, black and bitter, and stepped onto the balcony, the air thick with jasmine from the neighbor's vine. Below, traffic hummed on Sunset, a river of lives rushing toward destinations she envied. 28. Vermont had been her reset button. Post-waves crash. The surf drama where she played the plucky sidekick who died heroically in Act 3. Critics called it visceral, but the box office called it dead. And Isla called it the end of her lease, her savings, her fragile grip on self. She'd driven cross-country in a beat-up Jeep, radio blasting folk tunes that mourned what she'd left behind, a string of flings with men who saw her as a conquest, a coming out she'd rehearsed in mirrors but never voiced. Queer in whispers. Straight for the cameras, that was the unspoken rule. Portland was a pit stop, but Burlington pulled her north. The Adirondacks shadow a balm to her frayed nerves. She rented the cabin sight unseen, a creaky A-frame on the edge of a lake, furnished with mismatched quilts and a wood stove that smoked like guilty lungs. Days blurred into sketches of solitude, chopping wood that splintered her palms, swimming laps until exhaustion drowned the noise in her head. Nights were worse, silence amplifying the what-ifs, the ache for touch that fit, that saw her whole. Lena appeared on a whim, or so it seemed. Isla had ventured into town for supplies, the co-op's aisles a maze of local honeys and hemp soaps, when she spotted the bulletin board. Life drawing sessions Mondays. Voss Studio. No photo. Just a sketch of intertwined hands. Bold lines that spoke of intimacy without apology. She went, nerves jangling like loose change. And there was Lena, perched on a stool, guiding a circle of amateurs with a voice like smoked honey. "Don't force the curve," she said, demonstrating on newsprint. "Let it breathe." After, over weak tea in the back room, they lingered. Lena's studio was chaos incarnate, canvases leaning like dominoes, turpentine sharp in the air. A cat named Echo weaving between easels. "You have artist's hands," Lena observed, turning Isla's palm up, thumb grazing the lifeline. "But you hide them," Isla laughed, deflecting. "I'm an actress. Hands are for holding scripts, not pencils." But Lena pressed a stub of charcoal into her grip. "Try. Pretend the paper's a scene you can't speak." That first sketch was a disaster. Smudged face of a stranger, eyes too wide with panic. Lena didn't mock. She layered her own lines over it, softening the edges until the figure emerged, vulnerable, alive. "See? Layers. That's us, all of us." Their eyes met across the table, and something shifted, a current pulling Isla under. By week's end, sessions turned private. Lena's apartment aloft above a bookstore, walls lined with prints of women in quiet rebellion, Frida's unibrow fierce, O'Keeffe's irises blooming defiant. Their first real date was a hike to Camel's Hump, the trail steep and unforgiving, mirroring the climb in Isla's chest. Lena packed a thermos of cider, cheese from a farm stand, and stories of her own unraveling, raised in Eugene, Oregon, by a single mom who painted murals for bar tabs. Lena had fled to Seattle for art school, only to shatter against a lover who stole her work and sold it as his own. "Betrayal's a thief," she said, pausing at a vista where the valley unrolled like a watercolor wash. "It takes your colors, leaves you grayscale." Isla took her hand, calluses meeting silk. "Then let's steal them back." Picnics became rituals, bodies unfolding under quilt skies. Lena's touch was patient, exploratory, fingers learning the dip of Isla's collarbone, the freckles dusting her ribs like constellations. "You're a landscape," Lena murmured one twilight, lips trailing fire down Isla's sternum. "Rivers and ridges, hidden depths." Isla arched, gasping, the world reducing to the press of thigh against thigh, the slick slide of skin. It was revelation. No performance, no gaze demanding she play straight, just hunger met with hunger, release in waves that left her trembling, whole. Yet doubt shadowed their idol. Calls from LA intruded, agents chasing callbacks, friends hinting at parties where deals were sealed in champagne flutes. "When are you coming home?" her best friend Mia texted. A photo of a rooftop bash attached. Ethan photobombed in the corner. All dimples in danger. Isla deleted it, but the pull grew. One night, post-climax glow fading, she confessed over Lena's kitchen table, steam rising from mugs of chamomile. "This world, it's not built for us. Not like this." Lena's gaze hardened, not with anger but resolve. "Then we build our own. Or we burn theirs down." But burning required courage Isla didn't yet own. Tidal hearts came calling, a script for the ages, her as the tempestuous lead opposite Ethan's brooding captain. "This could be your Oscar bait," her agent cooed over FaceTime. Auditions loomed, and with them, the machinery. Chemistry reads where Ethan's knee brushed hers too long. Directors nodding at their spark. Lena sensed the tide turning. Her sketches growing darker, women with eyes averted, hands clenched. "Promise you'll come back," she said the night before Isla's flight. Their lovemaking fierce, almost punitive, nails raking backs in silent pleas. The airport goodbye was a gut punch, Lena's scarf around Isla's neck, smelling of charcoal and home. "Write me the real scenes," Lena whispered, kiss lingering like a bruise. Isla boarded, heart a lead weight, vowing silence as temporary. But Ella swallowed her whole. Fittings. Table reads where Ethan's ad-libs drew laughs. Paparazzi staking her driveway. Weeks stretched to months. Texts unanswered as scripts piled high. The wrap party sealed it. Ethan's arm around her waist for a photo op that went viral. Caption screaming shippers. "Rejoice." Lena's final message arrived like a guillotine. "If this is the role, I won't audition for understudy. Be free, Isla. Or be true." She'd archived it, buried it under contracts and concealer. Now, 3 years later, staring at her cooling coffee, the scarf long donated to a thrift bin, regret bloomed fresh. The buzzer sounded, delivery, her assistant with dry cleaning. But as she signed for the package, her phone lit up. Old spot. 2 p.m. Don't be late. Ella's sketch was attached. 2 figures on a trail, hands linked, faces turned to storm clouds with tentative smiles. Isla's breath hitched. The cage rattled. Ethan stirred as she dressed, rubbing sleep from his eyes. Early call. She lied smoothly. Practiced. Meeting with the publicist. Promo stuff. He on. Waving her off. Knock him dead. Mrs. Caldwell. The name stung like salt in a wound. She grabbed keys, heart racing toward the unknown. The woman in the shadows no longer content to wait in silence. The old spot was Alfred Coffee on Melrose, a minimalist haven of pour-overs and avocado toast where influencers preened and secrets simmered beneath filtered facades. Isla arrived 15 minutes early. Pulse a staccato beat against her ribs, choosing a corner booth shrouded by potted ferns. She ordered a flat white, the foam heart on top mocking her own tangled mess, and scanned the door like a hawk, half dreading, half devouring the sight of Lena. 3 years had etched changes she could only imagine, lines around those gold-flecked eyes, perhaps a new tattoo snaking up her arm, stories in the tilt of her shoulders. When Lena walked in, the air shifted, charged like pre-thunder. She hadn't aged so much as deepened, 33 now. Her dark curls cropped shorter, framing a face honed by time's quiet chisel. She wore high-waisted jeans frayed at the hems, a linen blouse the color of sage, sleeves rolled to reveal forearms dusted with fresh ink, a delicate chain of mountains, Vermont's echo. No makeup, just the natural flush of someone who'd biked from Echo Park. Her messenger bag slung crossbody, bulging with sketch pads. Their eyes locked across the room, and Isla's world tilted. Lena's gaze held no recrimination, only a weary curiosity, like appraising a painting left too long in the attic. "Isla," Lena said, sliding into the booth, voice unchanged, that Oregon lilt wrapping around the syllable like smoke. No last names, no pretenses. She set her bag down, fingers drumming the table once, twice. A tell Isla remembered from tense drawing sessions, nerves masked as rhythm. "You look polished." The word landed neutral, but Isla heard the undercurrent, changed, distant, armored. You look incredible, Isla replied, meaning it, her voice cracking on the edges. Close. Lena smelled of graphite and bergamot, a scent that uncoiled memories in her gut. They ordered, Lena a black Americano. No frills and silence stretched, taut as a bowstring. Isla traced the tables with grain, searching for words that wouldn't shatter. I saw your exhibit last month. The one at Hauser. Shadows and silhouettes. It was haunting. Lena's lips quirked. Not quite a smile. Stalking my career now? Or just the ghosts? She sipped, eyes never leaving Isla's, challenging without cruelty. The directness was vintage Lena, always cutting to the bone, offering mirrors when Isla craved smoke. I went because I had to, Isla admitted, leaning in, voice low against the barista's hiss of steam. Because every line in those pieces screamed you. The pauses we lost. Lena set her cup down. Deliberate. Pauses aren't lost, Isla. They're filled. By other people. Other lives. The implication hung. I've moved on. But her fingers, toying with a napkin, betrayed her, twisting it into a tight spiral, the way she did when vulnerability loomed. Isla's chest ached. A fresh bruise. Tell me about yours. Your life now. And Lena did. Unspooling threads with the ease of someone who'd learned to weave solitude into strength. After Isla's silence, she'd packed for LA on a whim, chasing the light, she joked. But her eyes said chasing closure. Freelance gigs turned to commissions. Album covers for indie bands. Murals for queer bookstores in Silver Lake. She dated a barista with tattoos like war paint, a poet whose verses fizzled fast but nothing stuck, roots too shallow in soil salted by betrayal. I built walls, Lena said, sketching invisible patterns on the table. Not to keep people out, but to see who bothers climbing. Isla nodded, throat tight, imagining Lena's loft in Koreatown, exposed brick, canvases drying like shed skins, a bed warmed by strangers' sighs. Jealousy flickered, hot and unjustified. She, who slept beside Ethan for show, who faked orgasms in interviews with coy blushes. And you, Lena prompted, turning the lens. The power couple. Rings and red carpets. Does it fit? The question was a scalpel. Precise. Isla glanced at her left hand. The diamond a cold star 2 carats. Ethan's investment in their charade. It's a roll, she whispered. Voice barely audible over the shop's indie playlist crooning about lost loves. The best one yet. Pays the bills. Fills the feeds. But it's not. She trailed off. Green eyes pleading. Not you. Lena's expression softened. A crack in the facade. Not real. I know. I watched the wedding stream. You looked like you were at a funeral. Laughter bubbled. Sharp and shared. Breaking the ice into fragile flows. They lingered over refills. Conversation meandering like old trails. Lena's latest project. A graphic novel about women reclaiming stolen stories. Isla's dread of the sequel press tour. More hand-holding with Ethan under Klieg lights. Beneath it, currents pulled, brushes of knees under the table. Accidental but electric. Sending sparks up Isla's spine. Why now? Lena asked finally, as the afternoon sun slanted gold through the windows. 3 years. Isla. What changed? The premiere, Isla confessed. Words tumbling. Kissing him for the flashes. And all I saw was you. That cabin. The stream. Your hands on me like I was something sacred. Heat rose in her cheeks. But she pressed on. Voice gaining steel. I've been surviving. Lena. Not living. And I can't anymore. Lena's eyes darkened. Storm clouds gathering. Surviving's a choice. You chose the script over the sketch. The words stung. Truth slash. Isla recoiled. But Lena reached across. Palm up invitation. Not demand. Their fingers laced. Tentative. The contact a lifeline. I'm here, Lena murmured. But not to rewrite your lines. What do you want? Isla. Really? The question echoed into evening. As they wandered Melrose, boutiques shuddering around them. Lena pointed out murals she'd contributed to, a rainbow serpent coiling a lamppost. Fierce and fluid, while Isla shared snippets of set life, the exhaustion of method acting straight. The thrill of a scene cut for pacing, because her character glanced too long at a woman. Laughter mingled with silences. The old rhythm resurfacing. Hesitant but hopeful. At a corner gallery, they paused before a piece, two shadows merging. Indistinct yet intimate. Like us, Isla breathed. Lena's arm brushed hers. Maybe. Dusk painted the streets lavender when they parted. Promises hanging unspoken. Dinner tomorrow? Isla ventured. Heart in her throat. Lena hesitated. Then nodded. My place. 7. Bring wine and truth. The kiss on the cheek was chaste. But it lingered. Lips warm against skin. Igniting embers long banked. Isla watched her bike away. Curls catching the breeze. A silhouette against taillights. Back home. Ethan was prepping for a poker night with co-stars. The condo reeking of takeout ribs and bravado. How'd the meeting go? He asked, tossing chips into a bowl. Great, she lied, pouring herself a glass of red. The vintage Lena favored. He didn't notice the glow in her cheeks. The way her fingers traced phantom sketches on the counter. That night, as laughter boomed from the living room, Isla slipped into the study, pulling up Lena's website on her laptop. Pages of art unfolded, bold, unapologetic. Women loving women in strokes that defied erasure. One piece stopped her cold. A figure in a wedding gown. Veil torn. Reaching for a shadow hand. Caption. For the ones we leave in the dark. Tears pricked. Hot and unbidden. She texted. Can't wait for tomorrow. Thank you for seeing me. Reply instant. Always did. Sleep well. Ethan knocked then. Poking his head in. You coming? Babe. Boys want the queen of the table. She forced a smile. Pocketing the phone like contraband. In a minute. As she joined the game. Bluffing raises with steady hands. Her mind was elsewhere, on a loft in Koreatown. Where truths might finally eclipse the cameras. But shadows have teeth. Unbeknownst to Isla. Cross town. Ethan's phone lit with a tip from a stringer. Harper lunch date, old flame? He dismissed it with a swipe. But curiosity lingered. A seed in fertile soil. Lena's loft was a sanctuary carved from urban grit. The door opening to a world of raw edges and reclaimed light. Exposed beams overhead. Scarred by time. Cradled pendant bulbs that cast pools of amber over mismatched rugs and bookshelves groaning under tomes of poetry and theory. Audre Lorde beside Joan Didion. Bell hooks anchoring the base. The air hummed with incense and fresh basil from a windowsill herb garden. Windows flung wide to the night's chorus. Distant sirens. The low thrum of the 101 freeway. Isla stood in the threshold. Bottle of Pinot Noir in hand. Her simple black dress feeling suddenly too formal. Too LA, armored against the vulnerability this space demanded. "Come in," Lena said, wiping paint-speckled hands on a rag. Her smile tentative but genuine. White teeth flashing against olive skin. She wore overalls over a cropped tee. Denim faded to sky blue. A smudge of ultramarine on her jaw like war paint. The casualness disarmed Isla, pulling her forward into an embrace that started awkward, shoulders stiff, then melted. Arms wrapping tight. Bodies aligning in remembered geometry. Lena's hair tickled her nose. Curls soft as before. And Isla breathed her in, steadying against the wave of home. They moved to the kitchenette. A corner of butcher block and copper pots, where Lena uncorked the wine with a corkscrew shaped like a woman's hip. Glasses clinked. Red liquid swirling like blood O's. To truths, Lena toasted. Eyes locking with Isla's over the rim. The first sip burned sweet. Loosening tongues as they chopped vegetables for an impromptu pasta. Zucchini from the market. Garlic that popped in olive oil. Conversation flowed easier here. Away from public eyes. Lena's graphic novel progress. A queer retelling of Orpheus where Eurydice claims the lyre. Isla's secret audition for a limited series. A detective with a buried past. The kind where she punches mirrors instead of lovers. Laughter punctuated the sizzle. But undercurrents stirred. Glances lingering on collarbones. Fingers brushing in the pass of a spoon. As they carried plates to the low table by the couch. Knees knocked. Sparks jumping. The pasta was al dente. Pesto bright and earthy. But Isla tasted memory. Lazy Sundays in Burlington. Lena's experiments in the cabin kitchen. Flour-dusted kisses between stirs. "This feels dangerous," she said softly. Twirling noodles. Lena set her fork down. "Good, dangerous, or bad? Both." Isla's voice was a thread. "Ethan thinks I'm at a script read-through. If this leaks." She didn't finish. But Lena did. Leaning forward. Elbows on knees. "It? Us? Or you finally choosing?" The directness pinned her. But there was no judgment. Only the quiet ferocity Isla had fallen for. The artist who painted unflinchingly. Who demanded colors named. They cleared plates. Migrating to the couch. A sagging velvet beast piled with throw pillows embroidered by friends. Wine glasses refilled. The room warmed. Shadows lengthening as city lights winked on outside. Lena pulled out a sketch pad. Flipping to a fresh page. "Draw with me," she invited. Passing charcoal. Isla hesitated. Her hands, manicured for close-ups, felt clumsy but took it. The weight familiar. Grounding. They sketched side by side. No subjects assigned. Lines emerging abstract. Isla's a jagged skyline. Pierced by a single curve like a breaking wave. Lena's softer. Interlocking forms suggesting bodies in repose. Silence companionable at first. Then charged. Lena's knee pressed against Isla's thigh. Deliberate now. Heat seeping through denim. "Tell me about the marriage," Lena said. Not looking up. Pencil scratching steady. Isla's hand stilled. "It's paper." A contract for coverage. For careers that chew up complicated women. She described the negotiations, PR firm scripting dates. Ethan's flings tucked into NDAs. The wedding, a content machine churning likes into leverage. He's not cruel, she added. Fairness compelling. Just complicit. Like me. Lena's eyes flicked up. Dark and probing. Complicit's a chain. Who's holding the key? The metaphor landed heavy, echoing their first talk by the stream. Isla set the pad aside, turning to face her fully. I thought I lost it. But seeing you yesterday. It's like you picked the lock. Emboldened. She reached, cupping Lena's cheek, thumb tracing the paint smudge. Time suspended. Breath sinking. Then Lena closed the gap. Lips meeting in a kiss that was all ache and reclamation, soft at the edges, building to a slow burn. Tongues tentative then bold. It unfolded like a scene long rehearsed in dreams, hands roaming. Isla's fingers threading curls, tugging gently to expose throat. Lena's palm sliding under dress fabric, mapping ribs. The dip of waist. They broke for air. Foreheads pressed. Isla whispering, I miss this. You. Lena's response was action, guiding her back against cushions, bodies aligning in a dance of rediscovery. Clothes shed in whispers of silk and snaps. Skin bared to lamplight. Freckles and scars catalogued anew. Lena's mouth trailed fire down Isla's neck. Collarbone. Pausing at the swell of breast. Tongue flicking nipple to peak. Isla gasped. Arching. Hands fisting sheets as Lena descended. Kisses peppering abdomen. Inner thigh. Until her breath ghosted the core of her. Please, Isla breathed. Vulnerability cracking her wide. Lena obliged. Mouth claiming with reverence, tongue circling clit in lazy figures, fingers curling inside to stroke that hidden spot. Pleasure built in coils. Isla's hips bucking. Moans spilling unchecked. The loft a cocoon of gasps and slick sounds. Climax shattered her. Waves crashing white hot. Body trembling as Lena coaxed every aftershock. Then rose. Kissing her through the haze. Sharing the taste of release. They lay tangled after. Sweat cooled. Lena's head on Isla's chest. Heartbeat a lullaby. This doesn't fix everything, Lena murmured. Fingers tracing lazy eights on skin. The world's still watching. Isla nodded. Reality's chill seeping in. I know. But it's a start. I want to end it with Ethan. The charade. For real. The words hung. Fall like. And Lena lifted to meet her gaze. Then do it. But not for me. For the woman in the mirror. Dawn crept in with birdsong from the fire escape. Isla slipping away before traffic peaked. A goodbye kiss at the door that promised more. Text me when you're home, Lena said. Leaning in the frame. Overalls ask you. A vision of tousled grace. Isla drove Highland Avenue. Windows down. Wind whipping her hair. Euphoria buzzing like caffeine. The condo loomed. Ethan still asleep. Oblivious. She showered. Scrubbing away evidence. But the glow lingered, marks faint on neck. Hidden by scarf. Midday brought chaos. A call from her agent. Echoes residuals spiking. A variety blurb on their blissful union. Ethan emerged. Hungover but chipper. Lunch? That taco truck on La Brea. She demurred. Meeting. An escape to a cafe for script notes. Phone burning with Lena's message. Last night was a sketch. Let's fill the page. Smile unstoppable. Isla replied, deal. Dinner soon? But shadows lengthened. That afternoon, Ethan's phone pinged in the kitchen. Another tip. This one sharper. Grainy photo from Alfred's. Cropped but damning. Isla's hand on Lena's. He stared. Jaw tightening. Not with jealousy but calculation. Interesting, he muttered. Deleting it for now. Cross town. Lena's studio phone rang. An old contact. Offering a residency in Portland. 2 months, they said. Clear your head. She glanced at her pad. Isla's wave sketch staring back. And wavered. Evening fell. Isla at a networking mixer in the hills. Schmoozing producers with Ethan at her side. His grip firmer than usual. Heard you had a busy day, he said casually. Over caviar blinis. Her stomach dropped. What do you mean? His smile didn't reach eyes. Nothing. Just. Be careful. We have a brand. Warning laced. Subtle as poison. Isla nodded. Heart sinking. The high of Lena's touch souring to dread. The charade's jaws snapped tighter. And in the shadows, secrets stirred. Ready to bite. The mixer dragged into midnight. A swirl of clinking glasses and half-truths. Where deals were whispered in alcoves and alliances forged over canapes that tasted of ash. Isla played her part, laughing at Ethan's quips. Posing for selfies with directors whose films she'd greenlight in her sleep. But her mind was a runaway reel. Replaying Lena's loft in loops of silk sheets and stuttered breaths. Ethan's warning echoed. A dissonant note in the symphony of schmooze. His fingers lingering too long on her elbow as they bid goodnights. In the valet line. Under stars smudged by smog. He leaned close. Love you in that dress. Makes me want to skip the drive and take you here. The line was for show. But his eyes held something sharper, possession. Perhaps. Or the first flicker of threat. She demurred with a peck. Sliding into the Tesla's leather seat. The engines hum a low growl matching her unease. Tired? He asked. Merging onto the 405. City lights streaking past like fallen stars. Exhausted, she lied. Staring out at the blur. Composing texts to Lena she wouldn't send. He knows something. What now? Home was a facade of normalcy. Ethan crashing early. Citing a dawn gym session. Isla in the bathroom. Steam clouding the mirror as she scrubbed hot. Chasing the phantom scent of bergamot from her skin. Sleep evaded. Tangled in cotton that felt foreign without Lena's weight beside her. Dawn broke gray. Rain pattering the windows, a rarity in L. Turning streets to mirrors of regret. She rose. Brewing espresso strong as resolve. Scrolling Lena's Insta. A new post. A time-lapse of hands shaping clay into feminine forms. Caption molding what breaks. Heart twisting. Isla typed. Coffee? Need to talk. Reply swift. Intelligentsia. 10 a.m. Bring your honest face. The cafe was a hipster Bible in Silver Lake. Exposed brick. Pour-overs named after philosophers. Baristas with sleeve tattoos reciting bean origins like scripture. Lena arrived in a trench coat the color of wet pavement. Curls frizzing in the humidity. Carrying a portfolio under one arm. They claimed a corner table by the window. Rain sheeting the glass. Muffling the world to their bubble. You look like you wrestled ghosts all night, Lena observed. Shedding the coat to reveal a sweater knit loose. neckline dipping to collarbone. Something like that, Isla said, stirring oat milk into her latte. Foam swirling chaotic. She spilled it then, the mixer's undercurrent. Ethan's veiled barb. The creeping fear that their bubble was thinning. He's not stupid. And the paps. They're everywhere. Lena listened. Chin on hand. Expression unreadable. Then reached across. Thumb brushing Isla's knuckles. So tell him. End the act. You're Isla Harper, you command rooms. Why not your life? The simplicity stung. A mirror to her cowardice. Because it's not just me. It's contracts. Clauses, morals buried in fine print. Coming out could tank everything. Voice cracking. She leaned in. But losing you again? That's the real end credits. Lena's gaze softened. Gold flecks catching the light. Then fight for the sequel. With me. They walked after. Rain-slick sidewalks forcing closeness, shoulders bumping. Arms linking against the chill. Silver Lake Reservoir gleamed dull under overcast. Joggers braving the drizzle like penitents. Conversation veered personal. Lena's residency offer. Portland calling like a siren song. 2 months, she said. Kicking a puddle. Time to breathe. Create without the city's choke. Isla's step faltered. And us? In that. Lena stopped. Turning her under the canopy of a jacaranda. Purple blooms dripping. Us is whatever we make. But I won't be the secret side plot. The words were steel wrapped in velvet. And Isla nodded. Pulling her close. Kiss urgent against the rain, lips parting. Tongues tasting coffee and resolve. Passers-by blurred. The world a watercolor wash. Afternoon blurred into stolen hours. Lena's loft again. Door barely shut before hands roamed. Coats pooling at feet. They made love midday. Light filtering gray through blinds. Bodies urgent, Isla on top. Straddling. Grinding slow then fierce. Lena's nails digging hips. Gasps mingling with rain's rhythm. Stay. Lena whispered post-climax. Limbs entwined. But Isla couldn't. Ethan's text. Where are you? Call. She dressed with kisses. Promising. Soon. I'll fix this. Reality reasserted cruelly. Back home. Ethan waited in the kitchen. Laptop open to a gossip rag. Blurry shot of her and Lena at Intelligentsia. Headline Trouble in Paradise? Harper's mystery meetup. Care to explain? His tone was even. But eyes cold as contracts. Isla's blood iced. Old friend. From Vermont days. He closed the lid. Slow. Friends don't look at each other like that. And we have a tour starting next week, Europe, Asia. Smiling for the fans. Remember. Threat implicit. He softened it with a hug. Cologne cloying. I get it. Babe. Marriage gets stale. But we're in this, our brand. She nodded. Numb. Excusing herself to the bedroom. Locking the door. Phone in hand. She searched. Divorce clauses in celeb prenups. Fallout stats for queer icons. Numbers swam. Terrifying, careers cratered. Endorsements yanked. But Lena's face surfaced in her mind. Fierce and free. And resolve hardened. That night. Over dinner, steak he grilled. Wine she barely touched, she broached it. We need to talk about us. The real us. Ethan paused. Forked midway. Shoot. She laid it bare, not the affair. Not yet. but the emptiness. The facade's toll. I want out. Amicably. For both our sakes. His laugh was brittle. Out? Mid-hype? You'd torch everything we built. Debate escalated. Voices low but laced with venom. He citing joint assets. She her sanity. This was always temporary, she insisted. You knew. His face twisted. Temporary till it wasn't convenient. Who's she? Anyway, the artist type? Bohemian bullshit. The slip hung. Confirmation. Isla's heart plummeted. You knew. He shrugged. Pouring more wine. Paps send alerts. And yeah, I knew about Vermont. Thought you'd grown out of it. The casual erasure ignited her. Grown out? It's not a phase. Ethan. It's me. Storm broke. Accusations flying. He her enabler. She his prop. Fine, he spat finally. Lawyers Monday. But expect the spin. I'll play the heartbroken husband. You? The wild one who strayed. She left the table. Slamming the study door. Tears hot. Dialing Lena. Voice breaking. It's done. Or starting to. Lena's calm anchored. Come here. Now. Isla packed a go-bag essentials. Scripts abandoned. And fled into the rain. Tires hydroplaning toward Koreatown. Ethan watched from the window. Phone already to ear. His agent. A publicist. Voices plotting narrative control. At the loft. Lena pulled her inside. Towel drying hair. Murmuring comforts as they curled on the couch. Takeout tie steaming untouched. He'll fight dirty, Isla warned. Head on shoulder. But I'm done hiding. Lena kissed her temple. Then let's expose the canvas. Night deepen. Body seeking solace, love-making tender. Exploratory. Fingers interlacing as rhythms synced. Release a quiet catharsis. Sleep came fitful. Dreams of spotlights and shadows merging. Morning brought headlines. Caldwell Harper split? Sources say infidelity rocks Hollywood royalty. Ethan's camp leaked first. Painting Isla the villain. Affair with a downtown nobody. Her phone exploded, notifications. Voicemails from panic team. But Lena brewed tea. Sketching beside her at the table. A portrait emerging Isla. Fierce-eyed. Breaking chains. This is you now, Lena said. Sliding the pad over. Strength bloomed. Fragile but real. Yet betrayal's shadow loomed larger. Unseen. Ethan's publicist dug. Old emails. Vermont photos unearthed from a hacker's cache. A call to Lena's gallery contact. Leverage. The game turned vicious. Secrets weaponized. As Isla's journey from cage to freedom met its first true storm. The leak hit like a flash flood. Headlines cresting vicious and unrelenting. Turning Isla's phone into a grenade she dared not touch. Harper's lesbian lover? Exclusive pics from Vermont hideaway. Grainy shots of her and Lena on that camel's hump trail. Arms linked. Smiles unguarded. Timestamped 3 years back but weaponized now. Ethan's spin machine purred efficient. Statements to TMZ framing him as blindsided husband. Quotes from insiders decrying Isla's deception as a betrayal of fans who trusted her rom-com queen vibe. Her agent called at 6 a.m. Voice a wire of panic. We need damage control. Deny? Deflect, say it's a phase. Or PR stunt gone wrong. Isla. Curled in Lena's bed. Sheets rumpled from night's tender anchorings. Stared at the ceiling's water stain. Shaped like a fractured heart. Lena slept beside her, breath even, one arm draped possessive over waist, a lifeline in the deluge. "No," Isla said into the phone, voice steel despite the tremor. "No denials. This is me. Schedule the interview Variety. Today. Click." Lena stirred, eyes fluttering open, concern etching lines. "The storm," Isla nodded, showing the article, pixels blurring through tears. "He's burning it all. But I'll rise from the ashes." They rose together. Ritual in crisis, coffee percolating, Lena sketching rapid-fire, quick portraits of Isla, chin lifted, eyes ablaze while Isla paced, scripting responses in her head, rehearsing the unrehearsable. "I won't apologize for loving a woman," she said, more to herself. "Not anymore." Lena set pencil down, pulling her into lap, kiss grounding. "Then own it. The world's ready, or it will be. Because of you." The Variety office in Century City was a glass fortress, editors buzzing like bees in a hive of deadlines. Isla arrived alone, Lena's go fierce echoing, in tailored pantsuit. Auburn waves tamed to waves of resolve. No makeup to hide the shadows under eyes. The interview was a gauntlet, probing questions on the marriage, a mutual agreement. Professionally. The affair? Love doesn't wait for scripts. Her queerness? Always there. Just waiting for the right light. Words poured authentic. Raw, no coy deflections. Just truths honed sharp. The pressure of playing straight in an industry that tokenized difference. The healing in Lena's arms. The fire of self-claiming. By evening, the piece dropped online. Isla Harper comes out. My heart was never in the vows, and the tide turned. Title indeed. Social media ignited, Isla out trending. Fans flooding with rainbows and rants against Ethan's camp. Allies amplifying her voice. But backlash bit, trolls spewing slurs. Conservative outlets decrying Hollywood decay. Endorsements pausing like held breaths. Her inbox overflowed. Support from Ellen. Shade from ex-co-stars. Ethan texted, "You just nuked our residuals. Good luck solo." Blocked. Lena met her at a quiet taqueria in Boyle Heights. Away from prying lenses. Booth sticky with salsa history. "You were a force," she said. Passing a horchata. Cool against Isla's flushed skin. Over carnitas tacos. They dissected the fallout, pride mingling with fear. Lena's hand steady under the table. "Portland offers still open," she mentioned casual. But eyes searched. Isla chewed slow. "Tempting. But LA's my battlefield now. Fight here. Win here." Lena's smile was proud. Tinged melancholy. "Warrior. Just don't forget the pauses." Nights blurred into a rhythm of resistance. Isla fielding calls from lawyers untangling prenup knots. Ethan demanding half the Echoes' back end. She countering with evidence of his indiscretions unearthed by her team. Days were strategy sessions in coffee shops. Lena sketching concepts for a collaborative project, a graphic memoir. Isla's words illustrated in Lena's bold strokes. Intimacy deepened. Not just bodies, though those joined fervent. Exploring edges in the loft's alcoves. Strap-ons and whispers pushing boundaries, but souls. Late-night confessions over wine. Isla's teen years in Austin, Texas. Stealing glances at cheerleaders while dating the quarterback. Lena's first crush. A theater teacher who vanished after a stolen kiss. Yet cracks formed. Ethan's escalation came via proxy. A source leaking Lena's past. The stolen art scandal. Twisted to grifter gold digger. Paparazzi swarmed the loft. Flashes harrying their grocery runs. One grainy shot of a goodbye kiss splashed across page 6. Harper's shadow lover. Who's exploiting whom? Lena's gallery pulled a show. Citing distractions, her phone rang with hate. Voicemails venomous. "It's me thereafter," Isla said one night. Pacing as thunder rumbled distant. A summer storm. Rare and raging. Collateral in your crosshairs. Lena caught her wrists. Pulling close. "No. This is our story now, Missy." True. They made love then. Stormlit. Bodies slick with sweat and rain scent. Isla on knees. Mouth worshipping Lena's folds. Tongue delving deep until cries drowned the thunder. After. Wrapped in a quilt piece from Lena's Oregon days. Doubt lingered. "What if I drag you under?" Isla whispered. Lena's fingers traced her spine. "Then we swim. Together." Climax brewed midweek. Ethan's camp sued for defamation, claiming Isla's interview slandered his character, demanding injunction on her coming-out narrative. Court date loomed, but Isla countered bold. Press conference at the Abbey. WeHo's iconic queer bar. Flanked by advocates. Cameras rolled as she spoke. "This isn't about scandal. It's about survival. Love me. Hate me. But see me." Cheers erupted. Community enveloping her. Lena in the crowd. Eyes shining fierce. Post-presser high. They escaped to Griffith Park. Twilight hush over the city bowl. Trails wound empty. Eucalyptus sharp in air. And they hiked hand in hand, pausing at an overlook where Ella sprawled electric. "Remember Camel's Hump?" Lena asked. Back to a boulder. Pulling Isla between legs. "This is better. Real stakes." Kiss ignited. Hands wandering, Isla's under sweater. Palming breast. Thumb circling nipple. Lena's down jeans. Fingers teasing seam. They didn't finish. Tease turning to promise. But the air crackled with what's next. Betrayal's blade fell sharper that night. Returning to the loft. Package weighted anonymous. Brown paper innocuous. Inside. Printouts of emails. Isla's from 3 years ago. Ghosting Lena. Cold as winter kill. Attached note. Ethan's scrawl. "Remember who you really are? Run back to her. See how far truth gets you." Heart hammered. Isla burned them in the sink. Flame orange against porcelain. But ash lingered. Doubt's residue. She confessed to Lena over dawn tea. Voice small. "I was a coward then. Still am." Lena cupped her face. Kiss salt-tanged. "Were. Now, you're rewriting." But the seed planted. As Ethan's suit progressed. Depositions dredging old wounds. Isla wondered if love could weather the expose. Lena, meanwhile, accepted Portland silently. A ticket stub in her bag. Secrets festered. The journey's arc bending toward fracture. Even as hands clasped tight. The deposition room was a sterile box in a downtown high-rise. Fluorescent buzz mocking the gravity of truths laid bare. Isla sat ramrod. Lawyer at flank. As Ethan's attorney, a shark in pinstripes, probed with surgical cruelty. "So, Harper. These emails to MS. Voss. Abrupt cessation post-wedding planning. Regret? Or calculation?" She met his gaze. Green eyes unflinching. "Regret. Every day." But calculation? That's your client's specialty. Objection overruled. But the point landed. Ethan's glare from across the table a storm cloud. Outside. LA baked under October sun. Heat waves shimmering off the courthouse steps like lies distorting. Lena waited in the Jeep. Iced tea sweating on the dash. Her presence a quiet rebellion. How'd it go? She asked as Isla slid in. Skirt hiked for relief. Like pulling teeth. But mine stayed in. Laughter shared. Brittle but binding. They drove to Venice Beach. Windows down. Salt wind whipping confessions free. Boardwalk pulsed. Skaters weaving. Drum circles thumping. Vendors hawking dreams and beads. They walked barefoot in the surf. Waves nipping ankles. Isla's hand in Lena's at anchor against undertow. This war, Isla said. Toes curling in wet sand. It's exhausting you. Lena's stride hitched. Then resumed. Not war. Revolution. Yours. But shadows under her eyes betrayed toll. Sleepless from hate mail. Commissions drying as brands fled controversy. Back at the loft. Over falafel wraps. She broached it. The Portland residency. Full commitment now. Flight in 2 weeks. Space to create, she framed it. But voice wavered. Not escape. Isla's fork stilled. Tabbouleh uneaten. 2 weeks? That's soon. Hurt-laced. Unspoken. Am I losing you mid-battle? Lena set her plate aside. Knees touching under table. It's not goodbye. Just breath. You fight here, I root there. We videodate like normals. The rationale rang hollow. And Isla pulled away. Pacing to the window. City haze mocking clarity. Normals? We're anything but. And after Vermont. After I left. Now this feels like echo. Lena rose. Arms encircling from behind. Chin on shoulder. Echoes aren't endings. They're calls to listen. Kiss to neck. Soft. But Isla twisted. Facing her. Hands framing face. Stay. Please. I need you, not the sketches. Not the support. You. Urgency built. Mouths crashing in a kiss born of desperation. Teeth nipping. Tongues warring. Bodies pressing wallward. Clothes shed frantic. Sweater yanked. Jeans kicked. Skin meeting skin in hallway heat. Lena lifted her. Legs wrapping waist. Carried to bed where they devoured Isla's mouth on breast. Sucking hard. Eliciting moans that vibrated bone. Lena's fingers plunging deep. Curling relentless. Thumb on clit circling mercy. Climax ripped through. Isla crying out. But release soured to tears. Post-glow clinging like damp sheets. Don't go, she whispered. Head on Lena's chest. Heartbeat a countdown. Lena stroked hair. Voice thick. I have to. For me. But I'll come back. Promise fragile as rice paper. And sleep came fitful. Dreams of trails diverging. Shadows swallowing hands. Days fractured. Isla's court victory, settlement favoring her. Ethan's suit dismissed as frivolous. His public mea culpa half-baked apology tweet brought vindication. But hollowness. Offers trickled. A queer rom-com lead. Podcast invites to discuss authenticity. She shone in interviews. Voice steady. But evenings yawned empty. Lena packing boxes slow. Each tape roll a tear. Their last week was ritual. Sunset hikes in Runyon. Bodies tracing familiar paths. Dinners of Lena's inventions, risotto creamy with secrets, nights of lovemaking layered. Slow fingers and mouths mapping farewells. Whispers of wait for me against skin. Betrayal's final twist came veiled as concern. Mia. Isla's ride or die from drama school. Called mid-pack. Babe. Heard about Portland. She's running old pattern. That gallery theft? She bounced after. Left her ex holding debts. Doubt slithered. Cold. Isla confronted gently that night. Over half-packed wine. Is there more to Portland? Truth. Lena. Face crumpling. Lena confessed. Not flight. But fracture her ex. The thief? Resurfacing with threats to sue over stolen ideas. Portland a sanctuary with legal aid ties. Didn't want to burden you mid your war. Rage and relief ward. Rage at the hide. Relief at the why. We're in this, Isla insisted. Pulling her close. No solos. But the seed Mia planted festered. Was Lena's love conditional? Tethered to calm seas? Departure day dawn crisp. Airport run a blur of traffic and tears. Oh. Curbside. Hug eternal bodies melding. Kiss salt deep. Bystanders blurring. Call when you land, Isla choked. Lena's smile brave. Every pause. Love you. Empty loft echoed that night. Isla wandering rooms scented ghost Lena. Collapsing amid sketches left behind, portraits of them. Intertwined eternal. Phone buzzed. Ethan's number. Blocked but proxied through Mia. Heard your girl's gone. Told you bohemians bolt. Drinks. For old times. Delete. But isolation nod. Spotlights glare now solitary. Week stretched. Portland calls a tether. Lena's voice tinny over FaceTime. Studio shots of mountains mirroring Vermont. Graphic novel pages blooming. Miss you, they'd sink. Screens fogging with breath. Virtual touches, guided hands over video. Moans shared in pixels. But distance amplified fissures. Isla's rising star pulling late nights. Lena's immersion yielding radio silences. A tabloid whisper Isla linking with a co-star at a premiere. Hit Lena hard. Truss fraying like old canvas. Climax crested mid-November. Isla's Queer Currents premiere in SF. A triumphant queer film fest. She invited Lena. Flight ticket gift wrapped. Come. Be my +1. Real. Hesitation. Then yes. Airport reunion was poetry. Arms crushing. Kiss public. Unapologetic. Flashes be damned. Fest afterglow, panels where Isla advocated. Lena sketching from wings. Pride swelling. Hotel room that night. Celebration carnal, champagne spilled on sheets. Body slick. Strap harness for depth. Thrust sinking to gasps of mine. But dawn brought the blade. Lena's phone. Ex's text. Suit filed. Your Harper Cash better cover. Panic flickered. An invulnerability slip. Lena withdrew. Need to handle this solo. Isla's heart cracked. Solo? After all. Argument erupted. Words weapons, Isla accusing flight. Lena defending survival. You have spotlights, I have shadows. Let me navigate mine. Door slammed. Lena to a solo room. Isla alone with echoes. Healing's path twisted. Self-reckoning demanded. Isla journaled furious. Pages of rage at abandonment's echo. Love's cost. Calls to therapist. A queer elder in WeHo. Unpacked layers. Abandonment wounds from dad's exit. Mom's Bible thumped denial. Love isn't rescue, the doc said. It's mirror. Meanwhile, Lena in Portland battled court. Ex's claims crumbling under evidence, her art. Timestamp true but isolation deepened. Missing Isla's fire. Reunion brewed accidental. Christmas. Isla in Austin for family détente, mom's tentative proud, sister's ally cheer. Flight layover in Portland. Impulse text. Here. Coffee. Lena agreed. Airport cafe neutral ground. Awkward at first, hug stiff. Words halting but coffee warm to confessions. Isla's therapy breakthroughs. Lena's victory in void. I bolted from fear, Lena admitted. Not you. Isla's hand over hers. And I pushed. From mine. Pauses again. They extended. Lena's studio visit. Sketches resuming. Bodies reconnecting slow. Tentative. Kisses building to touches. Release gentle. Reaffirming. Stay through New Year? Lena asked. Isla did. Austin postponed. Love's labor mending. But Journey's arced higher. Back in LA. Isla pitched their memoir, Shadows to Spotlight, to publishers. Lena illustrating. Ethan's shadow faded. New roles queer-coded flowing. Yet humanism's core pulsed. Not flawless union. But flawed becoming scars as stories. Love as verb. In quiet moments. Hands laced. They whispered futures. Vermont cabin repurchase. Portland summers. LA base with breaths for art. Conflict resolved not imperfection. But persistence. Hearts healing in tandem. New Year's Eve shimmered over Los Angeles. The city a bowl of confetti and countdowns. But Isla and Lena opted for intimacy over Inferno, rooftop of the loft. String lights twinkling against smog-veiled stars. A picnic of charcuterie and cava. Playlist of Nina Simone sultry and soulful. Below. Fireworks cracked premature. Echoes of battles won. Above. Sky vast. Promising uncharted. They sat cross-legged on a serape. Knees touching. Glasses clinking to rebirths. Not resolutions. The past months had been a masterclass in mending. Isla's memoir deal sealed. Shadows to Spotlight a bidding war winner. Her voice now a beacon for young queers navigating closets cracked open. Therapy sustained. Weekly unpackings of the girl who'd bartered authenticity for applause. Emerging woman who demanded both. Lena's graphic novel intertwined. Her illustrations visceral, ink washes of red carpet cages dissolving to mountain freeze. Women entwined in colors unapologetic. They'd relocated lightly. Sublet the loft for Lena's LA stints. Cabin in Vermont deeded joint. A Portland pied terra for inspiration's green. Ethan's epilogue was footnote. Settlement finalized. His career pivoting to reformed dad roles post-rehab whisper. A distant nod at an industry gala, cool civility. No venom. Growth, he texted once. Unprompted. Isla deleted. But smiled. Everyone's arc bends toward light. Eventual. Tonight, though, was theirs. Stories swapped like gifts. Lena's latest mural in a SF Dyke bar. Isla's audition callback for a trans director's epic. Laughter flowed easy. Hands wandering casual, fingers interlacing. Thumb strokes on wrists evoking memories electric. As midnight neared, they rose. Arms wrapping. Bodies aligning front to back. Lena's chin on Isla's shoulder. What if, Lena murmured. Breath warm on neck. We made a vow? Not paper. Not cameras. Just us. Isla turned in embrace. Green eyes meeting brown. Depths reflecting fires banked and blazing. What kind? Kiss first. Soft. Then deepening, lips parting. Tongue slow dancing. Hands cupping faces as if fragile. They sank to the blanket. City erupting in cheers distant. Fireworks blooming overhead like heartbursts. Clothes peeled layer by reverent layer. Dress unzipped. Sweater tug. Skin bared to chill air that pebbled flesh. Nipples hardening under mouths. Isla trailed kisses down Lena's torso. Tongue dipping navel. Then lower, parting thighs. Breath ghosting core before delving. Licks languid. Savoring salt sweet. Fingers joining to stroke inner walls. Curling to that spot eliciting arches and cries. Lena reciprocated fierce, flipping positions. Mouth claiming Isla's center. Tongue flicking clit with precision born of knowing. Fingers thrusting deep. Rhythm building to crescendo. Climax shared. Bodies shuddering in sync. Release a symphony of moans mingling with aerial booms. Afterglow wrapped them. Limbs tangled. Breath sinking to the night's hush. Our vow, Isla whispered. Tracing Lena's jaw. Is presence. In pauses. In storms. No more shadows alone. Lena's smile dawned. Gold-flecked eyes soft. Sealed. They lay then. Watching embers fade. City settling into New Year sigh. Dawn crept pink. Bringing coffees brewed on camp stove. Plans sketched loose. Spring festival circuit. Summer cabin retreat. Fall book tour hand in hand. Challenges loomed, industry biases. Distances tug. Inner demons dormant, not dead, but love. Proven. Was scaffold. Months unfurled. Book launch in New York. Bryant Park verdant. Fans queuing rainbow attired. Isla reading excerpts, voice steady emotional. Lena signing prints with flourish. Backstage. Quick kiss. We did this. Vermont summers bloomed idle, hikes renewed. Streamside sketches. Nights firelit with bodies and stories. Portland winters grounded. Rain a rhythm for creation. X's shadow banished to irrelevance. Isla's roles evolved. Leads unapologetically queer. Her Outlier series earning Emmys. Co-stars toasting her authenticity. Lena's exhibits toured intimate revolutions. Sold-outs in Berlin. Buyers queer icons collecting defiance. Together. They mentored. Workshops for young artists, actors. Safe spaces carved from scars. Yet humanism's grace lay in imperfection. Arguments over schedules. Isla's premieres clashing Lena's deadlines, resolved in raw talks. Tears to touches. A miscarriage scare mid-tour. Grief shared in hotel hush. Healing in held hands. We're enough, Lena affirmed. Broken and all. One autumn eve. Back in the loft, now there's permanent. Walls hung with joint works. Isla knelt by the window. Ring box velvet. Simple band of green tourmaline mirroring eyes. Marry me. Not question but offering. In our way, vows whispered. Witnesses the stars. Lena's yes was gasp. Then kiss. Ring sliding home. Fit perfect. Ceremony came Vermont snow-dusted. Cabin aglow. Friends circled, Mia officiating rye. Sisters toasting fierce. Vows personal, Isla's I see your shadows. Love them whole. Lena's I'll draw our pauses eternal. Dance under birches. Body swaying to Joan Baez. Love's rhythm unscripted. Years layered. Adoptions whispered. A daughter with curls and green eyes. Son with artist's hands. LA base for work. Travels for Soul Oregon Coast. Austin barbecues. Global fests. Isla's star steadied. Advocacy deepening. Lena's legacy inked. Murals worldwide. In quiet. Always. Hands laced on porch swings. Stories to kids of women in shadows who claimed light. Regret? Fleeting for lost time. Not path. Joy dominated. Deep as roots. Love a garden tended daily. And in every pause. Truth. Hearts once caged. Now free. Belonging eternal.